What is up, GOAT World? It's me, your boy JDZ, and I'm back at you again with another GOAT format video. The PWCQ number 48 just wrapped up, and like I always do, I'm going to quickly run through the top 8 deck lists from that tournament. Make sure you go ahead and like and subscribe to this GOAT format dueling channel as we're on our way to 9,000. What an event! What a tournament! 46 of the game's best players showed up to this thing, and it was a phenomenal showing, as they always often are. And without further ado, I know you like a do, but let's hop on in and see what we got going on at number 8. At number 8, we got the duelist Marvin back on the scene. I believe Marvin hails from Greece, playing the warrior strategy in his own unique way. This time Marvin is rocking double Zumbira in the main deck, double Blade Knight, one Reaper, one Faith in the main deck. You got double Sakuretsu, double Trap Does Shoot, one Book of Moon finding its way back into the main deck. Everything else seems pretty standard. The warrior deck stock is up. After the GOAT Format World Championship, it went down, and then it kind of, at the start of this new season, I mean, the warrior players are out there to play. So I would think that this is where the meta is right now. There might be some things to kind of glean from that, as you got double Blade Knight is interesting, one Ninja Grandmaster is interesting. Everything else seems pretty standard. The spell counter stays in the side deck, and the double bottomless trap hole finds its way in the side deck too. Bottomless trap hole stock is continuing to rise as well. Huge shout out to Marvin for another top performance, and welcome back to GOAT World in PWCQ number 48. Okay, moving on to number 7. Number 7, we got Jay Harris 86, and as recording of this video, Jay Harris 86 is currently ranked number 1 on the GOAT format rated dueling ladder. I love to see duelists who have great success on the dueling ladder find their way into GOATformat.com events, and Jay Harris seemed to do that, coming in with his number 7 place finish, playing Chaos Turbo deck. Pretty standard, but things that aren't standard, I see you got triple Regeki breaks in the trap lineup, double Trap Does Shoot, Trap Trinity, double Jog is what you're going to lead on to with this one. Right now, I think this is pretty good. I think this is a pretty good save trap lineup for this Chaos Turbo deck, but I would like to see Chaos Turbo probably going back to Solemn Judgment. I think it's time to return to Solemn Judgment, or anything that you can do to kind of hedge yourself against the warrior matchup. Maybe Solemn Judgment might not be the answer. I think it might be something that can be experimented with, because the warrior players having Solemn Judgment and you not having Solemn Judgment, I think that could be some of the difference makers, as I think it's time for the Chaos Turbo players to start preparing for the warrior matchup. In the side deck, you're sticking with the Sakuretsu armors, you're sticking with the Call of the Haunted Jinzo combination, you got the Zumbira in there, the double Mind Con, and that is how you're going to give it up. Again, huge shout out to Jay Harris for your 7th place finish, and welcome to GOAT World. I want to see what you got going on. I'm sure this duelist is good enough to get the dubs. All right, moving on to number 6. Number 6, we got OG Betchy, another Chaos Turbo player, coming on in at 6th place. So right now we got Warrior Turbo. OG Betchy doing it a little bit different, just keeping a more standard Chaos Turbo deck. This one's pretty much cut and dry, very up and down, bread and butter Chaos Turbo, very salt and pepper Chaos Turbo, very similar to the deck that this duelist top PWCQ 47 with, coming in 2nd place in that event. Now you're coming in number 6. I mean, the deck is solid. Obviously, the player is solid. You just need a little bit more luck. You know what I'm saying? The deck is good. Your skills are good. Now you just got to figure out the luck factor, and maybe you can put enough dubs again to make it through to make it on to a victory. But you got the one Book of Moon in the main deck. Everything else seems pretty standard. Nothing to write home about this Chaos Turbo deck. But I love me some OG Betchy, and congratulations on your 6th place finish, representing Team Evil again. All right, moving on to 5th place. Now, this is the deck that I would like to spend the most time about and talk about, because I love what Geronimo 7 is doing here. Apparently, Geronimo 7 is another player that hails from Greece, and he's playing this Zaborg Tomato control deck. Okay, got some creature swaps in there. You got Book of Moon in there, double knock, double mind in the main deck. Again, I've been saying I think mind control in the main deck is so much better than mind control coming out of the side deck. I'm sure this thing was getting immense value all day long. Triple Royal Decree as your trap lineup. I hate Triple Royal Decree. I don't like Triple Royal Decree. I think it comes in bunches. That's one of those cards. Maybe it's just psychologically, or maybe it's just literally, I don't know. But Decree being a continuous trap, it will stick around for a while. So having a trap that just comes in bunches like that, and it can't do a damn thing once you got one already going. I would love to see Decree at 2, but Geronimo elected to rocket at 3, and I think it's pretty solid. You don't really need that much defense. You got triple Spirit Reaper, Mystic Tomato, triple Spy. You know, so you got a lot of defense in your monster lineup. You also have these scapegoats. Creature swap. I think creature swap stock is just going insane right now. This card we saw in the stream, if you go back and watch that stream, it's up on this channel. Just go ahead and peel back and check that stream out. You can see Geronimo had to endure some crazy Trinity turns, huge resiliency stuff, and it all came predicated on these creature swaps and that Miss Tomato and creature swap and Serpent, creature swap and Singing. I thought it was really, really dope. Also, having Zaborg in your main deck is also really, really strong. This card is super duper good. So I think this deck is really solid. This is a deck that I think I would be interested in trying myself. I think this is a really cool rendition. Basically, it's Go Control deck, but you're electing to keep it a little bit more defensive in your monster lineup, but leaning on Decree to kind of shut down all the traps, which are so prevalent. I think the Warrior strategy would have a hard time playing against a deck like this, and with those main deck mind cons, you should have a pretty decent matchup going against the Chaos Turbo strategy. In the side deck, it's very standard stuff. Electing to play that Soul Release, I think that's a good card in this metagame too. Again, graveyards are going to be what these Chaos Turbo strategies are heavily predicated upon. If you can neutralize all their light monsters or maybe the dark monsters or the Trinity and stuff, you can continue to achieve victory if that is what you want to do. You got some traps in the side to kind of hedge a little bit different in certain matchups. So much think about this deck. I like this deck a lot. I think the triple road decree is something that I would want to change right away. But huge shout out to Geronimo. Hopefully you stick around in the GOAT world and keep playing. Geronimo, number 7 in a 5th place position. All right, moving on to number 4. Number four, and we have Purple Drunk. Purple Drunk playing the Chaos Turbo strategy as well. And this is kind of what I'm talking about when I'm looking at this Chaos Turbo deck and where I think it needs to be. I think it's somewhere around what Purple Drunk is doing here. You still got the card destruction in there. You got double Night Ass in there, but you got these triple solemn judgments in there. I think this might be the way to go about it, just to help force some of your plays through, help defend yourself in a pinch if you need to, and just absolutely not get blown out by your opponent having all the solemn judgments and you not having any. I think this might be a good way to go about it. What I don't like is what Purple Drunk has, the Mirror Force in the side deck. I think Mirror Force is just, you gotta have it. I think Mirror Force is a card that you just absolutely need to be playing right now if you're playing this Chaos Turbo deck, because the Warrior strategy is all over the place and they are just getting great, especially in these PWCQs. Maybe in different metas, it might be a different cards are being used, but right now in these PWCQs, the Warriors are out there, the aggressive decks are out there. Showing up to this tournament without a Mirror Force in your main deck, I think is a mistake. I think Mirror Force is even better than that one trap dust shoot you have in there. I think there are cards there are cards that are better than the one of Mirror Force that's in the side deck. So that's one thing I would like to see different about this deck. But other than that, I think this deck can get really low to the ground, and I think it's really, really chill. And I think it's a good strategy. I like what's got going on here, and Purple was playing lights out as always. Unfortunately, the fortune did not favor him, and he did not get the dub. But the top 4 performance, I think, is pretty solid. Keeping that chaos control type engine in the side deck is something I think is going to persist throughout the rest of this dueling season. Huge shout out to Purple Drunk for your 4th place finish, and I will be looking forward to what you got going on for the rest of this dueling season. As we got into the 3rd place, we are in 3rd place now, and we have Corina, Formula's finest. Corina, aka Corina, doing her thing out here playing the Chaos Turbo strategy and doing it in a more of a, I would say more of a sack, we call it sack turbo variety, keeping those Edison ratios. I think is really funny because I know Corina is a prolific Edison duelist in her own regard as well. But playing some GOAT format with the 1 dust shoot, the 1 solemn judgment, 1 Mirror Force, obviously you got 1 Night Assailant. You know, I think that's pretty funny. I think that's pretty fun when I see stuff like that happening. And you got the double jog, the double Raigeki break. I think the 10 trap lineup, 10 spell lineup always looks really good. It's very aesthetically pleasing. Also, the aesthetics of the 3 Dekoichis, 3 Gravekeeper Spies, always very aesthetically pleasing to the eye. I like the way that this looks, you know, on paper. You know what I'm saying? I do like that. I like the Trinity in the middle right there. You got the knot. I think it looks good. It's very balanced and equal. You know what I'm saying? How it performed, I think she was playing lights out as well. I think the deck is truly, truly solid. The 1 Wengu, 1 Kaiku, triple back row removal, got the MST and the 2 Dust Tornadoes in the side deck, and the bottomless trap hole as well. I think this deck is super solid. Obviously, Chaos Turbo is going to be what Chaos Turbo is. It's just a little tweaks and changes here, but I think Solemn stock is up. I think the Chaos Turbo players should be going back to Solemn Judgment, in my opinion, as we're going to be moving on. But huge shout out to Karina. She was playing very well. The deck was doing everything she wanted it to do, but you just ran out of gas. As we move on into the top 2. The top 2, we have PWCQ first time, I've never seen this duelist before. Patton 13 coming on in and played this really cool. We got Thunderclap again. Thunderclap is back on the scene again, doing what it does best, and Patton played this deck, and this is really cool. I like this deck. I like this deck a lot too. I like them all. It's not that I hate any deck, but I really like what's going on here. I like the one of Abyss Soldier, and I like the one of Sinister Serpent in there. No Sangan, no way to find that thing. Maybe you could find a way to put Sangan in this deck. You have a lot of searchable items for Sangan, and Sangan is just a generally good card. I think not playing Sangan in this deck might be an oversight, but you know what I'm saying? It is what it is. You got the Zaborg in there, you got the Zombara in there, so basically it's a warrior deck, but it looks like you take it to the next level with this Abyss Soldier, the Spirit Reaper, the Zaborg, the Thunder Monarch. I think that is pretty cool. Electing to lean on those Solemn Judgments as well. You got no Torrential Tribute in your main deck. I think that also might be a mistake. You know what I'm saying? I think Torrential Tribute is too good. The Trap Trinity right now is better than it's been in a long time. I think TT, Mirror Force, Ring of Destruction, I think you just gotta play them. I think you do. There are some times in the meta where I think you can lose the Trap Dust Shoe, or you can lose the Torrential Tribute, or you can lose the Mirror Force. I don't think we're in that time right now. I think you need to be playing all that stuff, and I think it needs to be in your main deck. But other than that, I think this deck is really solid, and Patton was having a great run all the way until Winners Grand Finals, until you ran into Dueling High 101, back at it again with another PWCQ victory. Dueling High takes first place, playing the warrior strategy and doing it in his own way. Again, this is a very standard bread and butter, up and down, all around warrior deck. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing crazy going on about this warrior deck, but Dueling High was playing out of his mind. I think this deck was doing everything he wanted to do as well. But Dueling High did kind of hedge for the mirror, as playing triple Sakuretsu Armor in the main deck, triple Solemn Judgment, obviously double Dust Tornado, only double Trap Dust Shoot. Everything else seems extremely standard. Keeping Tribe in there, Zombara's in there, you got the book in there. I think this deck is extremely rigid, very solid deck. You got all your flips coming in for the side deck. You got another Trap Dust Shoot, and you also have double Mind Control coming in from the side deck. And I actually don't hate the Mind Control coming in for this deck, because you are bringing in the GK Spies, and they will help you with your Mind Control going on into that game 2 and beyond. I think the deck is solid. And Dueling High picking up this warrior strategy, and it's just taking off, and it's becoming one of the more consistent duelists in this thing. He's always topping, he's always winning, he's having all kinds of success with this warrior strategy after he made that switch. So it's fun to see that sometimes that's all it takes. Sometimes all it takes, you get some success, and you get a change, and now you're on top of the game, and you're absolutely killing it. But speaking of this meta, so the meta game right now, we have 3 of these tournaments. We have PWCQ 48, 47, and 46. They were all taken down by an aggressive based strategy or warrior strategy or something along those lines. We have a lot of warrior decks making it to the top tables of these PWCQs. So maybe that is a telling sign on what the meta is looking like right now. I think Chaos Turbo needs to start to prepare a little bit more for these warrior decks than they have done in the past. And I think maybe there's an opening for these Chaos Controllers, these Go Control decks, to start seeing some light, and maybe they can be played again. But who knows? That is for PWCQ 49 to determine, which will be happening at some point in December. Make sure you get into the goatformat.com Discord and get those dates. But I just want to do a real quick, tell me what you think. Get down in the comment section and tell me what you think about these top 8 decks and about this metagame that we find ourselves. But that's all I have. As always, I'm JDZ. I play Goats. Until the next time, shout out to all the real ones. Salute to the OGs. Peace.